Hey guys, I'm here with Sean Uyehara from Loan Depot. We're gonna go through the pros and cons on a new build and a resale or a used property. Let's start off with going over the pros on a new build, right? It's a hot topic right now in Las Vegas. There's lots of new builds here in town. And when somebody starts their home search, they always ask, what should I look into first? Resales or new homes, right? So for a new home, you gotta take in consideration the build times. Right now, the process is you get put on a list where they take a raffle out every couple of weeks or every month. Once they pick you, then they start the build process.
Is every builder the same with their process in terms of their wait list?
Yes, they all have a list to start off at, and most of them that I've spoken to recently are doing the raffle.
Okay.
So that way everybody has a fair chance on getting picked so they can start their build process.
Are you seeing that they're requiring the client to get qualified with their lender, or do they just put their name down? What does that process look like?
So as far as KB Homes goes right now, they only require a soft credit check. They want to make sure that the credit is above a 640 to put them on the list. And after they get picked, then they go through the loan process.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, I mean, that is a little risky, I would say, not getting a full pre-approval done up front, get verification of employment done and things like that. I always want my clients to do a full pre-approval letter, whether they're gonna buy a new build or a used home.
What's the importance behind that? I know why it's important from us as a lender, but for you to say that as a real estate agent, why is that important to you so that people do get pre-approved?
It's super important because we need to know how much they can qualify for as far as a monthly payment. That way we know what kind of purchase price to put them in, right? So if we don't know that, we're kind of just shooting in the dark and just hoping for the best.
What about if they got good credit? I have a lot of people that sometimes they don't want to do the application because maybe they feel that they have a 750 or an 800 credit score. What does that look like from your end?
I mean, that doesn't tell me much, right? It just tells me that they've been paying their bills on time for a long time, right? So I know that we need to figure out how much debt they have monthly and how much income they have monthly.
Yeah. What about if they make good money or they got money in the bank? Does that mean anything without doing the pre-approval?
No, unfortunately it doesn't unless they have enough cash to buy the property in cash, right? We still need to verify their debt to income ratios. Yeah.
I think that's one thing to really understand, that even as a lender, that's obviously our job to make sure that we can get you guys financing, but you can hear it from the real estate agent side as well, how important the pre-approval is. No offense, right? It doesn't matter what your credit score is, how much money you make, how much money you have in the bank. Those are all great compensating factors of what any lender will consider to get you approved for financing. But every single person has to go through the process in order to get a loan.
That's right. Yeah. Going back to the pros on a new build, right? You get on the list, you get to pick your lot. What location you want to have your lot in accordance to the block, right? To the neighborhood. After that, the build times right now are typically taking 9 to 10 months. So if you have a time frame of at least 11 or 12 months, I would say a new build will be the right fit for you. Especially if you don't have a lease that's coming up and you want to have more time to save money, a new build is great. You won't have any maintenance for the next 7 or 10 years on the property. Everything's going to be brand new. The structure is warranted by the builder. So there's a lot of pros when going with the new build. Another pros to consider when looking for a new build is you don't have to shop around and send a bunch of offers for weeks and months at a time, right? You also don't need to pay above appraisal. And when you close on the property and you get your keys in your hand, it's move-in ready. No repairs needed, nothing like that.
When you say pay above appraisal, can you talk about that a little more? What exactly does that mean to the buyer?
So for example, when you're buying a resale home right now, we have to be able to offer the seller a certain amount of money on the side that's gonna be cash from the buyer in case the appraisal comes in below what we offered for the property. So for example, if the property is listed at $300,000, we know they're gonna get a lot of offers above asking, right? I've seen offers $50,000 above. So let's say they get an offer at $350,000, they accept that offer. When it's time to get the appraisal done, the appraisal is gonna be close to $300,000, maybe $310,000 at the most. So at that point, you're gonna have a $40,000 gap in between what you offered and what the appraisal came in at. So we have to have a certain cash amount that you're willing to give to cover this gap. Most clients are giving anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 to cover that gap. So you do have to come out of pocket a little more when buying a resale nowadays. Let's jump in straight to the cons of buying a brand new home, right? So a lot of people don't know, when you go and choose a lot, you have to pay an extra lot premium to be able to pick that certain lot. It's gonna determine whether the lot is bigger and the elevation and the type of views you get on how much you're gonna pay for that lot. Right now we're looking anywhere from $7,000 to $25,000 just for the lot premium alone.
That'll obviously depend on the builder and the type of home that you're looking at purchasing, right?
Exactly, yeah. Another thing to consider that I would think is a con would be that you have to have a large timeline, 11 months at least, because once they put you on the list, you're on hold or on wait for at least 2 months to get picked. Once they pick your name, that's when you get to pick your lot and start to build.
That process could obviously be longer too, right? Just depending on who the builder is and obviously how long the wait list is.
Exactly, it's gonna depend on how many lots they have available to release and a few other things. So that's one thing to consider. Another con to consider would be the upgrades that you get to pick and choose for the property.
You mean the house doesn't come the way it's built?
No, and be careful because these model homes are fully upgraded with up to $80,000 worth of upgrades. So the type of home that you see is not the type of home that you're gonna get. So once you start picking out the colors of the cabinets, the counters, you're looking at a minimum, I would say $15,000 bare minimum on upgrades.
Yeah.
Another con would be that the yards tend to be a lot smaller. And if you're a person that has lots of dogs or pets and want a big backyard, a new build might not be a good option for them, right? And then you are also gonna be limited to the locations that you can buy the home at. So wherever they're building, that's the location you're gonna have to stay at,
Yeah.
right?
And there's not always a new build, right, in all parts of town. Like
Exactly.
in Henderson, I know it's very tough to find new builds. A lot of them are just being in Inspirata. And you know, if you have a specific location, part of town that you're looking in, there may not even be a new build available. Carlos, so now that we covered the pros and the cons of new builds, let's hop into resale. First of all, what is a resale? And then let's get into the cons about the resales out there.
Perfect. So resale will be a typical home that has been pre-owned and is now on the market for sale, right? So let's cover some cons about that. In today's market, since they receive anywhere from 15 to 20 offers at a single property, people are offering so much more than what it's worth that you tend to pay above the appraised value most of the time. So that's something to be aware of. And a lot of people are just taking the property as is and then taking care of the repairs after.
Gotcha. So basically, let's say you found a house and you noted that there has to be some repairs. Is that something that a buyer could typically ask the seller to cover, or is that pretty uncommon right now?
No, you can ask to repair certain things depending on what it is, right? For my clients that I help, I have a few handymen on call to take care of cosmetic things, quick little leaks anywhere. And that way we don't have to nitpick the house and ask for a bunch of repairs because it might turn the seller off.
Gotcha.
If we send an offer like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And then something else to be aware of is the person that used to live there, you don't know how well they took care of the house. You don't know how often they change the AC filters, you know? And in Vegas, you need your AC to be working at 100%.
Oh, for sure.
Right.
Especially like today, man, it's hot.
It is hot. And then, you know, when you start shopping for resale homes, you got to keep in mind that you're going to view a lot of homes and send a lot of offers because you are going to get rejected. Right now, there's a lot of competition, so have a lot of patience if you are going to be looking into buying a resale home. There's so much competition, you also need to have a little bit more time when shopping for homes. At least 1 month up to 6 months of looking at homes, submitting offers to get you the right house that you want for your family.
How important is communication throughout that process with shopping, with you and, you know, their lender as well?
It's very, very crucial because we need to be on the same page. I always ask my clients to be truthful and honest with what they're looking for, so that way I can filter out any homes that I know are not gonna fit their criteria.
Sure.
So for example, I'm working with some clients from California, and I had a conversation with both of them at the kitchen, you know, at our first home where we met at. And it turns out that he loves to barbecue and smoke ribs, and a backyard is very important to him. So now I knew that every property from here on out needed to be at least 4,000 square feet lots, right?
Gotcha.
So we have some room in the back. He has grills and smokers. He said he has about 6 of them. So we need a decent sized yard.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. And then his wife wanted to make sure that the kitchen was nice and open with an island, right? So I understood that if it didn't have an island, it might be a deal breaker for them. So just understanding certain key points will make the home buying process a lot shorter and smoother.
I know one thing I always hear is, you know, potential buyers, they're looking online.
Yeah.
Right? So you might set them up on a search and they're looking at maybe Zillow or Redfin. How reliable are those websites? Should they look at those websites? Should they stay off? What are your thoughts?
I don't recommend to stay off of them, but don't rely on them, right? A lot of the times, a home that they really love, they send it over to me, and it's been under contract for the last 2 or 3 days already. So they don't update those websites as soon as you would think. So definitely rely on our searches that we send directly from the MLS, as they are updated, you know, I don't know, every minute, every hour.
Yeah.
They're super accurate. So that's the best way to start your home search, is to work with the realtor that can send you a direct search from the MLS.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Carlos, now that you covered the cons, let's end the video with the pros for the resales.
Let's do it. So look, for resales, you are always gonna have a lot more locations to choose from. If you wanna live close to the strip, if you wanna be near a certain highway, you can do that with a resale. And you don't need to worry about finishing up the backyards. You know, typically when you buy a brand new home, the backyards are just dirt. And you need to finish up the backyard within 6 months or a year, depending on the builder, right? And then if you find a property that has a bunch of upgrades, you typically get all of those upgrades at a discount versus if you were gonna do the upgrade yourself. So that's a big plus there.
Definitely.
You see some beautiful homes out here, fully decked out, countertops, everything, even pools, right?
Absolutely.
So,
like your off-market listing.
Yes, yeah, so we have a big pool coming up, guys, so you guys can check it out. Something like that, it makes it more affordable versus putting the pool in yourself, right? So that's a big plus there. You can move in within 30 days of the offer accepted, versus a new build, you have to wait almost a year to get your keys. Also, you can find homes with a lot bigger lots. Some of the older homes tend to have 1/4 acres, even 1/2 acres sometimes,
Yeah.
that you won't find when shopping for a new home. And then something that I noticed, maybe you can verify this, but the property taxes always tend to be cheaper on resale homes, right?
Yeah, you can see, you know, typically when we, on a new build, we probably estimate about 1%.
Oh, wow.
For property taxes. So depending on obviously their price point, right? 1% is kind of a good rule of thumb. But on a resale, you know, we already know what the taxes are, the county's assessed it, and yeah, typically they are a little cheaper on that side.
Yeah, so higher property taxes means a higher monthly payment?
Definitely,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so if you're looking to keep your monthly payments low, maybe a resale will be a better option for you. Something to consider as well is if you want a home with no HOA, you definitely have to go with the resale, Right now, all new builders have HOAs, so you can't get out of that.
Yeah.
Right?
What is an HOA? A lot of people always ask, you know, what exactly does it cover? Who do you pay? What does that look like?
So HOA stands for Homeowners Association. It's basically a group or a board of people that regulate the neighborhood. Each neighborhood has its own rules and regulations. Some are very lenient, some are very picky. So make sure you guys go over the HOA resale package when your realtor sends it over to you. I prefer an HOA. That way it makes everybody keep their house clean, their front yard nice and neat.
Yep, absolutely.
Because if not, you're just gonna be hoping that your neighbors are clean people, right?
Yeah, we've actually done some videos, you know, we've driven through some neighborhoods that didn't have HOAs, and you can tell because you've got the car on cinder blocks and you've got like those massive oil stains, right? And your neighbors got weeds in their yard. So I would agree. I like HOAs. You know, they help keep the neighborhood looking good, clean. They maintain a lot of stuff. So it's definitely helpful.
Exactly. Yeah, guys. So don't get discouraged out here. You know, and we understand that it's a very competitive market, but working with the right team that can guide you to your goal is key right now more than ever. What do you think?
I think having a team is super important, and that's one thing that we've stressed a lot in our videos is the teamwork between your realtor and your lender. And I know a lot of times, you know, we're searching with the best interest rate. That's not always going to be the best lender. And also I have clients that sometimes they're working with 2 or 3 or 4 realtors at the same time. Yeah. Guys, it's like getting married. You know, if you can't date 10 people at the same time and think that you're going to settle down. Right? Yeah. You got to pick one and get committed. So you got to pick an agent that understands what you're looking for and have trust and faith that they're going to do their job. Because when you start working with 3 or 4 other realtors at the same time, hoping that someone's going to get you the best deal, you know, ethically that's wrong, right? I mean, you guys work on commission, and I think you have to give that communication. That open line of communication with your agent and your lender, so that way everyone works together for your common goal, which is going to be to get you into a house. And I think that's one of the most important things I think that I see when people shop that get into homes successfully versus people that are continuously shopping, and I keep hearing that their offers don't get accepted or you know, they're missing out on homes. So I think the teamwork is super important. Yeah, exactly. If you feel anytime during the relationship with your realtor that you don't trust what he says, you don't have a lot of faith in him, I would just be upfront with him and let him know, like, hey, you know what? I don't think this is gonna work out. We're gonna put the home shopping on hold for now, and we're gonna be looking for a new realtor. That way, you are gonna be successful, and whatever advice you get from your realtor, you're gonna consider it and take it. Absolutely. Because, I mean, we're out here every single day talking to listing agents, submitting offers, and, you know, essentially we're buying 30 to 40 properties a year, right? And we're helping you buy one. So we know how the market is moving, and we know what it takes for to have a successful buy. Absolutely. Hey guys, so based on what we discussed today, what do you think is the best option for you and your family? Would you wait to get a new house built or start shopping around for a resale home that might have all the upgrades you already want? Let us know in the comments below. See you guys on the next one. Make sure to like and subscribe.